Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines, coming to you from the West Coast. Josh Lander, joined as always by my guy Nate Weitzer, holding it down on the East Coast. And we are going to jump into CAVS Hornets. And before you turn this off, because that sounds boring, the Hornets are a very good basketball team. We're going to get into some fun stuff, and we think we have a really nice edge on the line there. But as always, if you do still need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com. Find all those listings in your area, such as the game we're going into right now. Nate, let's jump into it.
Yeah, the Hornets are either -3 or -2.5, depending on your book right now. The total is 225.5. And I think it might start to rise. The Hornets kind of came into their opener with the Pacers smelling themselves a little, maybe because they were one of the darlings of the preseason. People expect them to take a leap forward. All of a sudden, they go out and give up 75 points in the first half, but still come back and win that game against a much improved Pacers team. Now we're looking at a Cavs team that gave up 132 in their opener to usually a low-scoring Grizzlies team. Cavs have Darius Garland questionable tonight. They're giving rookie Evan Mobley a ton of run, and they don't necessarily have much veteran leadership there, with Kevin Love just asking to get out of town whenever possible. So basically a dysfunctional team that was bad on defense last year, bad overall, went 8-28 after the break. In their first game this year, that's their 29th in defensive rating, but played at the 12th fastest pace. Hornets played at the 5th fastest pace, but ranked 25th in defensive rating. And they gave up 6 more points per game on the road last year, did the Hornets. I think, 115 points per game. I think we can project both teams to get over 110, with the Hornets maybe over 120. And that gets you over this total here. I think we both feel confident about the Hornets winning as well. So I think there's some tasty parlays to consider there.
100% agree. Feel really good about Charlotte. It's one of those weird lines that kind of makes you pause for a minute, because you're kind of like, wait, I thought we've established that the Hornets are good and the Cavs are not. So why is this a 3-point line, even if it is in Cleveland, right? So look, to your point about the points, we don't need to go too much more into why the Hornets are so much better than the Cavs. The Hornets have a really complete roster. Miles Bridges playing the 4 is really, really nice for them. They're already, with Gordon Hayward playing a really big 3, if you will. They've got size all over the floor, and that really allows them to spread and shoot from 4 different positions. They're really good. And LaMelo Ball came out, and it was his first game after winning Rookie of the Year. A lot of hype on him this year. Not only did he drop 31, 9, and 7, his shooting numbers were incredible, and 7 for 9 from 3. You can't expect that every single game, but eyeing the total is where we can start to make some money on this game. To your point about maybe putting some things together, because the pace of play for both these teams is going to be high, as we mentioned, for the Hornets and their style this year. But the Cavs are a team, to your point, where they were really bad on defense, and they kind of just punted. It seemed like, and they were just going, well, we've got 2, 3, 4 guys on the floor at any given moment that can get their own bucket. Honestly, specifically Garland and Sexton, right? They're bucket getters. So we'll just try to push this thing and at least make it close where we have, 110 points or so. So, feeling really, really good about both of those bets.
Yeah, or the Cavs aren't even necessarily trying to win right now. I mean, they got rid of Larry Nance Jr., who was maybe their best low post defender. And, they're just going in a youthful direction. They gave up the second highest 3-point percentage after the All-Star break last year. Just kind of playing that freewheeling style that just says that it's good for fantasy basketball, good for overs, not necessarily good for results. I think the reason the line opened like this is because the Cavs did take 2 of 3 from the Hornets last year. And the recent results, even before that last season, were pretty even both ways. And the under is hitting 8 of the last 11. But this is a new day, as we talked about again and again, with LaMelo Ball leading this team. The Hornets are completely different. Have a completely different dynamic, 31, 9, and 7 in his opener. And the guy is just taking off. That's why they went over in 6 of their last 9 games, dating back to the end of last season, once he got back in that lineup. When they had Gordon Hayward in the lineup, they scored about 5 more points per game as well. And I just trust their offense more to pull away and win. I think the more we talk about it, the more I would just go spread if you can get it at -2.5 or 3 than the over. But I think there is some opportunity to get both there, and just ride the Hornets, their offensive eruption that we could have.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to lay plenty on the Hornets themselves. And then, this is a game with some interesting players. Even, I think Evan Mobley is a guy, we haven't talked about him yet, but he had a really nice showing in his first matchup where, they scored a ton against the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies scored even more. But it's something to look out for in terms of where he's playing on the floor. I think you see him playing off Jared Allen. We kind of talked about it preseason, how, they will be on the floor together. And you'll see they put, Mobley a little bit more out on the high post, even on the wing at times. He's showing some versatility, and I'm not ready to just jump entirely on his bandwagon and his props, but I think you can still get some value for him at 13.5 points in this game. I do like him to score a bunch. And then Gordon Hayward's at 18.5 points. Scary Terry Rozier is probably not going to play. It seems like he's day to day. I don't know why you'd bring him back against the Cavs. And even if you do, you probably bring him back on limited minutes when you've got plenty of other players in the backcourt there to take him on. But so without Terry Rozier in there, I do like Gordon Hayward to get 20 points. You only need him to get 19 on DraftKings, and you get his player prop there. Evan Mobley, like I said, 13.5. I might wait on it and see another game from the Rook before I feel good. He had 17 last game, but 14 points is still, a decent showing for someone who's the third, fourth option when he's on the floor at least. So favorite prop easily is Hayward to get 19.
Yeah, I think you can keep hammering the peripheral stats for LaMelo until they adjust. He went well over, I think, 6.5 assists and 5.5 rebounds in his debut. The guy's a triple-double threat on a nightly basis right now, just playing with a ton of confidence. So I would eye those props where you can get them.
Absolutely. Like we said, this is going to be an actually pretty fun game. If you like up and down basketball, you'll get it early on in that league pass if you're watching tonight. So make sure to stay tuned for all of those. Like and subscribe if you are enjoying what we're bringing you so far this season. And we'll be back as we roll on with this nice Friday slate. And until then, happy betting.